Well, you come to the Midships channel for answers to the most pertinent questions. And today, it's gonna be an interesting one because what would happen if a tornado met a cruise ship? Well, there's video of it, and I'm gonna show it to you. Roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. I'm your Captain Corey, and here we go with another slice of cruise news just for you. Now today we've got a story that I don't think anybody expected, with a tornado coming dangerously close to a cruise ship. And I mean dangerously close. This all went down in New Orleans yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. We're gonna talk about it, but first, I have your question of the day, and this one's gonna be controversial. I just know it. How many of you out there enjoy a good hot dog?
Hot dogs! Get your hot dogs!
I know every now and then I enjoy one. They've got the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, goes down, I think it's July 4th. That's definitely a can't miss event every year. Old Joey Chestnut getting up there on stage, dunking those hot dogs in a cup of water. Blech. I couldn't imagine that, but more power to him and more power to all those competitive eaters out there. I'm off on another tangent. The question of the day, it's about hot dogs, and the question is a hot dog a sandwich? Does it qualify to be a sandwich? Leave your answer in the comments below. It feels like this one might be a little divisive down there, so keep it respectful, y'all. Are there hot dog emojis? Go ahead and throw some hot dog emojis my way. Wow, that sun just got blinding. I'm gonna have to scooch over, yikes. Now, we're gonna get into this tornado story. I couldn't believe my eyes. It looks almost like something out of like a disaster movie. So let me set the scene for you. I'm gonna put on my artist hat by Bob Ross, and well, he doesn't wear a hat. You're down in Louisiana along the Mississippi River in New Orleans. It's late in the day, March 22nd, and severe weather, it's on the menu for the day, including tornadic activity. And you know, New Orleans, it just doesn't seem like they can catch a break in the severe weather department down there. I'm just gonna say that. Remember we had Hurricane, what was it, Ida, that rolled through there last year, like 6 months ago. Obviously they had Katrina that rolled through 10 years ago now, and now they've got this tornado night on March 22nd. Tornado actually, I think it touched down, or at least it did plenty of damage. The poor folks down in New Orleans can't seem to catch a break. And now we've got the story about the tornado and the cruise ship, so I'm gonna continue with setting the scene. Now, this cruise ship, she's called the Seven Seas Mariner. No small ship, it's a luxury cruise ship. Now this cruise ship, she's called the Seven Seas Mariner. It's not a very small ship, it's pretty good size. She's on a cruise heading to Galveston, Texas, but she spent the day in the Big Easy, the port of New Orleans. And you know, she's departing the port around 7 o'clock at night in the evening. And just about a half an hour later, this big old tornado comes up and crosses the river right where the Mariner's sailing. I kid you not, it's so close. Now, this story is coming out of some local news networks down in New Orleans. This is from WGNO TV, and we're gonna just watch the video. So take a look here. This video is coming from a Twitter post that was submitted to the news network. You can see the ship rolling down the Mississippi River here, and as you see the lightning flashes, there's a little dark spot right above the ship, and just to the right of that, you see that little, it's lighter colored, it's a V-shaped funnel. That's a tornado. Look at that thing. It's not even small. That's a big one. It's kind of hard to see because it's dark. I've tried to boost the contrast, but as the ship passes the videographer, they're going to go ahead and point out the tornado to you. Now, I believe there were only about 250 passengers on the ship at the current time that it sailed past the tornado. There. Now you can see towards the aft of the ship, we're getting that light spot, a cone right there. You see it? That's the tornado. Just, it's hard to tell from this perspective just how close this was to the ship. But man, oh man, that would be the scare of a lifetime as a passenger on board this cruise. But props to the crew aboard Seven Seas Mariner. It's been reported that during the day, because there was severe weather that was expected in the area, they went ahead and they got the ship ready for it. They took some precautions, and typically what they'll do is they'll take the furniture off the deck of the ship, but they took it a step further. They went room by room to all of these balcony cabins, and they took off all the chairs, the tables, just to make it a safer environment. And it's pretty likely they probably locked the balconies. That's pretty typical of what cruise lines will do if they suspect severe weather. Now remember, cruise ships, they tend to try to avoid this kind of weather. They adjust their courses so they can stay out of the path of it. But when you're sailing up a river, where are you going to go? You got two directions. I mean, there's not really a choice there. With that said, they could have maybe skipped the port altogether, but nobody really expected a tornado to just materialize right on top of the cruise ship like that. So everybody involved down there in New Orleans, in the Louisiana area, they had something happen, they had damage, they had loss of a family member. Our hearts go out to you. Thank goodness the Seven Seas Mariner just had a close encounter of the tornado kind. And speaking of close encounters, why don't you have one with me on board my group cruise, October 24th. We're cruising on the Carnival Sunshine out of Charleston, South Carolina. It's going to be a 5-night cruise. We're stopping at Half Moon Cay down in the Bahamas. Some people call it Half Moon Cay. You know, it is a thing. That's how it's written. We're also stopping in Nassau. I have some really cool things planned for the cruise. We're going to get together a lot on board the ship. We're going to spend a lot of time together as a Midships family, getting to know each other. I can't wait to meet everybody out there who's cruising along with us. We got a really big Facebook group going on right now. You should join it. If you'd like more information on how you can get on board or some pricing, you're just curious, want to kick the tires a bit, there's a link in the description below this video. It'll take you to the Facebook group. And while you're down there clicking on those links, I'd encourage you to check out my Amazon Associate Store link. It's right there just down below the group cruise link. That's where I show you all of the cruise essentials that I take with me on every single cruise I take. From simple things like lanyards to hold your sea pass, magnetic hooks, passport holders, all kinds of things, all the way up to more exotic things like fancy cameras that make you look like you know what you're doing when you take your pictures and your videos on your cruise. Everything ships on Amazon Prime, and the best part is, even if you just click the links and you don't buy anything, it does help support this channel a little bit. It keeps me cruising and cruise newsing. And now for cruise news story number 2 of the day. This is going to be somewhat of a vindication to me from some hate comments that I received last week. This is about the Norwegian Escape, the ship that ran aground. Yeah, I made an episode last week, I think it was like Thursday or Friday, where I showed you the damage on the ship. You could very clearly see it, even though that wasn't good enough for some folks out in the comment section. I explained to you all that there was damage located right where there were thrusters below the waterline. I went on to explain the ship sat on the seabed for hours on end. I think it was like 7 hours with the weight of it pushing down. We don't know what was underneath the waterline. We don't know what was sitting on the seafloor poking up into the ship. We didn't really know the extent of the damage. But still, I had a person in the comments, some guy named Daryl, came up to me and said the following. He goes, "I'm surprised the majority of your commenters were talking about daylight savings time on this video because your comments about the Norwegian Escape and the title of your video are clickbait." Oh yeah, clickbait. Well, yeah, so if you didn't understand YouTube, the title and the thumbnail, that's the point of it, is to get you to click on it and to watch it. I try to deliver the content that's in there every time, but every video on YouTube, it's technically clickbait. He also went on to say that it's pure conjecture that I was spewing, talking about the passengers having to get off, the ship canceling the next cruise. He says it's pretty standard, and I didn't know what I was talking about. The commenter then went on to say that he guessed I would do anything to sell my stupid videos. So fast forward a week's time, and my stupid video turns out to have been pretty darn true and correct, because in that stupid video, I went on to say that if you had a cruise scheduled on the next couple itineraries for the Norwegian Escape, you might want to go ahead and consider alternative options, because there's a chance your cruise could be canceled due to this incident. And lo and behold, it's vindication day for moi. And unfortunately, it's cancellation day for a lot of others who were planning to go on the Norwegian Escape. This is now going to be the second cruise in a row canceled for the vessel that ran aground. So unfortunately, it looks like the repairs for the Escape are taking longer than Norwegian had initially hoped. Now, most corporations, when they have bad news, they play it pretty close to their hand. They keep a poker face about it, so to speak. And I'm not surprised that that's what Norwegian has done here. And that's why all the conjecture had to take place, because, well, I'm just a natural catastrophist. I tend to often expect the worst possible outcome, which is weird because I'm also kind of an optimist. It's a weird juxtaposition. And unfortunately, I was right in this case, and I really didn't want to be right. I would love for people scheduled on that Norwegian Escape cruise for March 26th to just have had their cruise go on like normal. However, there's some alternative options for folks that are impacted by this problem. They can hop on the Norwegian Joy out of Miami, which is like a few hours south of Port Canaveral, where they were supposed to cruise from. They could also hop on the Norwegian Breakaway out of New Orleans the next day, the 27th. Or they could go on Norwegian Dawn out of Tampa the next day, which is 2 hours west of where they're flying in. Or they could hop on Norwegian Encore out of Miami the next day. So there's a lot of good options in lieu of this cruise. If you're one of those affected guests and you go ahead and take one of these alternate itineraries, you're going to get a free cruise because Norwegian has given you 100% future cruise credit to use on another cruise. And if you don't want to go, you can cancel and they're going to give you all your money plus a 50% future cruise credit on top. So even though it's annoying, if you want to cruise, you're still going to be able to cruise. And there's some really pretty good ships on offer here. So honestly, I'm kind of tempted now. Do you think I should book on the next cruise for Norwegian Escape just to see if I can get that 100% future cruise credit? I've heard through the grapevine there's some other folks here on YouTube that might be doing the same thing. It's an interesting proposition. Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you made it this far into today's episode, I'm sure you're subscribed to the channel, right? Well, if you're not, make sure you do it and leave a thumbs up on this video if you love cruising. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today, and until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships. Ha! Got the break on this chair finally. Thank goodness. La 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 la.